Hi. Oh my goodness. It's so rare to have a beautiful day in September in London. So I decided to shoot my video outside. Oh my goodness, look at that ray of sunlight. It's beautiful. So this is my fourth month as a YouTube content creator. And honestly, it kind of started off as a bit of a whim, really, because I talk a lot about properties with my friends. My friends keep asking me about properties, and I thought, well, I seem to be keep repeating myself to different friends, so why not just record the knowledge I have and put them on YouTube, which is what I did. And in the last 4 months, I have also started talking to a lot of people who heard about my YouTube channel or friends of friends. They just want to ask me about their property question. And I notice that a lot of the time when I talk to people who are facing some sort of pickle in their property deal, I realize a lot of the time is because they don't understand investment. And when I talk about investment, I mean like basic financial literacy, which I know a lot of people wish that they learn it in school. And I realize actually, in order for people to understand and make money from property, they need to first understand investment. So and I can't help but wonder, wouldn't it help people if I just teach them about financial literacy? And I have to confess, I bought my first property 13 years ago when I was in my early 30s. So I'm dating myself here. And I have since bought two properties in London in the last 3 years. But I've been investing in the share market a lot longer. I invested in the share market ever since I received my first professional salary, not a part-time job, not an internship job. And I realize I am in a very privileged position in that I I'll tell you a detour of how I started investing in the share market. So I'm trained as an auditor. So I did accounting and finance and psychology in university. So I know how to read a financial report. And I actually work as an external auditor for PricewaterhouseCoopers at one point. I'm not a very good auditor, I have to say, which is why I quit after 1 year because it was draining my soul. I'm just not cut out to be auditing. But I could read a financial report if I want to. And even before I received my first salary, my dad literally forced me to open a brokerage account with his remisier. This is before the days of internet trading. You have to call a physical person up and the person will send you a form to fill up. And I was in Malaysia at that time. So you have to fill up the form, fax it back to the person. Fax, yes. And you fax your identification card to the person to show that you're a real person and you're not a fake person. And those were the days, right? And whenever you want to buy or sell a particular stock, you have to call the person up, and hopefully the person will pick up his or her call and say, "Oh, I want to buy X number of so and so shares." And obviously, my dad forced me to buy a share almost immediately and said, "You're going to put money in this particular company, and just don't ask any questions, just buy it." And of course, me being me, I'm trained as an auditor. I'm not just going to buy a share without reading the financial report. And I did. The financial report was really healthy. It's a really big bank in Malaysia, very trustworthy, and the valuation was pretty good at that time. And I'll explain a little bit more in my later videos on what exactly is a valuation and how is it different from price. And I bought my first share, and it went up 40% by the end of the year. And so I just thought, oh yeah, so it's so simple, just buying and selling shares. I didn't realize the act of buying and selling shares could easily take somebody who's not from that sort of background 10 years to learn or even more. I had lunch with a ex-colleague of mine who was born on the same day, same month, and same year as me. And she said she didn't start investing until she was in her 40s, which was only a few years ago. And so by my dad forcing me to open a brokerage account and buy a few shares of that bank, it speed up my learning curve by easily 15 years. And I am so thankful for that. But I also feel sorry for people who are fearful or who don't have access to that knowledge, who, quote unquote, don't even know which platform to use or don't even know which website to use. And I realized there is a big gap in financial literacy knowledge in the world. On one hand, we have famous investors like Ray Dalio and Howard Marks, and I love Howard Marks, I'm a big fan, who are very selfless in sharing their views of investing, of whether the market is overpriced right now. So these are the experts, and you also have economists who are happy to share their view. Those are the expert level. And sometimes if you're a beginner, like you listen to the experts, but you kind of go, I just don't understand what they're talking about. Those are the experts on one end of the content creation world. And then, of course, they're not content creators, they're professionals. And then you have people on the other extreme where they talk about 5 ways to be a millionaire, but the 5 ways don't really tell you. Sure, maybe I can buy cryptocurrency, but which cryptocurrency do I buy? Like, which platform do I use? Or they will explain things such as compound interest. Like, compound interest is nothing. And actually, compound interest doesn't really get you that far nowadays. What will really get you far is geometric return. But then I'll explain that in my other videos. They don't give you concrete steps on how to buy your first share, how to overcome the fear of, is this the right platform to use? Am I getting into trouble? Did I press the wrong button? What if I lose money? How do I cope with it? How do I know if I have £20,000 inheritance from my grandma, for example? Do I buy £20,000 worth of Google in one shot? Is that the right thing to do? So these are the knowledge that I really take it for granted, and I realize people don't know. So, and of course, I love talking about properties as well. And I always see property as a subset, property as a part of your wealth creation too, right? You need to buy the right property. You need to decide, is it better for you to rent or to buy, which I've already talked about in my previous video. But these are all financial literacy questions. So, with that, I've decided that from this point onward, I'm going to change my channels from Vivian Talks Property to Vivian Talks Property plus Wealth. Well, I'll be covering a lot more wealth creation topics. And what I would like to hear from you is what sort of wealth creation questions you have that you might be too embarrassed to ask other people. The good thing about internet is it's quite anonymous. So just leave a comment below, and I am crowdsourcing topics that I can talk about going forward. And I'm actually really excited in talking about these topics because for me, it just opens up so many other things that I personally love talking about and have been quite successful in doing. So with that, I would love to see you next week or even in the next few days, depending on how fast I can produce my videos. And if you would like to learn more about financial literacy, click a like and a subscribe. And most importantly, send my videos, send my YouTube channel to your friends and tell them, I say, hey, this person is going to explain investment to us in a non-partial manner. So yeah, with that, bye. And I hope to see you in a few days' time.